And Karen is, one of the things she's doing with NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners, she's helping us with our 5-year strategic plan. And just watch Karen work is unbelievable. And if you are a woman business owner, you really need to look into NABO as an organization to join. That's my NABO thing, being on the board. NABO is a great way to meet dynamic women. And if you want to know more about it, you can either ask Karen or myself. We'd be happy to talk to you, bring you to a meeting, and see dynamic women. Men are invited.
And can be members.
And can be members, yes.
But I have a question. What about, I'm certainly, my sister and I have a business, and it's a personal business, more on relationships with women and men. So I love listening to you talk about letting the guy open the door and pay the bill. I'm like, yes. But I have a question in regards to that, is that when you really connect with people, because our business is more personal, sometimes it's harder to go to a business function where all these women, entrepreneurs, have different businesses, but a lot of them aren't always so personal. Where we fit in.
It's hard. That's why I made sure I'm the pay it forward business relationship expert. Because the personal relationships, I suck at. I have to work on that. So for me to go into, a lot of my girlfriends say to me, you're always talking about business, which is true, but my business is building relationships. It's my passion. So I have a hard time in the personal part of it. I can talk about business, but I can't talk about the personal. So you guys have the opposite one. I don't have an answer for you.
Well, Sharon is a master at connecting. She is absolutely sincere. I have seen her in action in the quality of connecting people. She's a master at that. If you have a business or if you are in a situation where there are people you know need help understanding how to change the quality and the nature of the relationships, their business relationships and connections, by all means, please contact her.
And if you need something, anybody work for SBC? Okay, get rid of the yellow pages. If you need something personally or business, send me an email and tell me you're looking for an engineer or a roofer or an architect or whatever. Don't use the yellow pages because they're not going to, back you up 100%. You need people who are going to refer each other. Get rid of the yellow pages. Everybody throw them out and use each other. Ask questions. Use me. Send me an email. I will find you somebody who's going to do the job right.
And here's a little exercise. I mean, it's just coming to me now, but I would encourage you to go home and make a list of 5 people who you really enjoy just being around. Just 5 people who, you may not even be able to explain it, but you feel great when you are with them. And then I want you to think about what their spheres of contact may be. Like, what business are they in? It's very similar to what Sharon was talking about earlier. What do they do? When's their birthday? What their interests are. Because you'll begin to build your kind of ring of relationships and power, and it will help you to begin to become discerning and to reclaim your resources. Because that's why we're overwhelmed. We're sending ourselves into spaces that maybe are not the best places to go.
I'll tell you 2 quick stories. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I was in Palm Springs visiting my father and mom, and I was at Borders, and I always go to the business section. There was a guy looking through some books. To make a long story short, I talked him into getting 3 or 4 different books. The manager heard me and she said, "Do you want a job here?" I said, "No," but I did a speaking engagement out there the following year. I also went to Long's Pharmacy, which is out there, and there was a woman buying a bunch of Sonicares. I was in the dental field. I said it was great, Sonicare. Found out that her husband was an architect. He uses lighting designers. My son's a lighting designer. Their lighting designer just retired. They did business together. You don't know who is in front of you in the grocery store, who is buying a book unless you ask questions? Talk to everybody.
Yeah.
If they have cherry tomatoes in their grocery cart, find out why they bought those instead of the plum tomatoes. I don't know. Start having conversations. You never know where it's going to lead. Make the world smaller.
Right, and that's your what. Hold on to your what. What is it that is part of your dream and your goal? Hold on to that what. Because the how could show up any number of ways. And be willing to wear your what like a coat. It's just always present and part of your consciousness.
Question?
When you talked about your family, why do you think that you were more grounded in your siblings? And did the angels and things speak to you very early in life? Like you're very intuitive and you're taking this over to the business side. So were you were you aware of that as a youth? And did that help you get over the challenges? And did you ever tell your parents what happened to you or your sibling?
Yes, and there's lots of stories with that. But the first time I ever realized I had angels, I was in Israel in 1972. We had just gotten the West Bank back on Israel. Israel owned it. We were staying in a hotel on the West Bank. My brother and I decided to go for a walk. We were walking. It was a Friday evening, right before Shabbos, Sabbath. We were walking. We got to the gates of the Garden of Gethsemane. My brother and I were talking. We both stopped at the exact same time. I said, Max, why did you stop? He says, well, I don't know. I said, I don't think we should go in there. He says, yeah, no, let's go back to the hotel. Next morning, in the Jerusalem Post, which is an English newspaper, 2 American tourists were killed by Palestinian terrorists in the Garden of Gethsemane. It was my angels talking to me. That was the first time I realized that there was an angel looking out for me. Couldn't explain it. We both stopped at the same time, turned around and walked back. But I still tell that story and I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
So when I was 20 at the time, that's when I first started realizing it. But I didn't really start developing it until about 1990, where I really started meditating and losing my weight. I mean, I lost 135 pounds. I lost 185 by divorcing a guy. So that year I lost a lot of weight. That's when I really started looking at it more on my spiritual side. My dad poo-poos it, my kids poo-poo it, and I don't care. I don't care.
Thank you.
I congratulate you for being married and being divorced 4 times, because just one divorce is, I said to myself, oh, that is the worst thing for being in this life, getting a divorce, because this is the worst thing that can happen.
And you survived.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
grew as a consequence.
and there's fabulous stuff ahead for you. Okay, last question.
I guess with practice things get easier, but how did you get the chutzpah to do it the first time?
To do what? Get married?
Yeah.
Or get divorced? Well, he was an Italian sailor that I married. My parents came down to Little Rock, Virginia, to talk me out of marrying this Italian sailor. And the next day I said, let's get married.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, it was total rebellion. Yeah, my dad and mom, if they said the sky was blue, I said it was black. I was the worst child in the world, so that when I would call my dad and say, Abby is doing this, he'd go, may your children only give you 1/10 of what you gave us. So it's, and it's having a great sense of humor. I mean, I laugh at myself all the time. People say you shouldn't talk about your divorces and your marriages. Why? It's fun. You've got to laugh at yourself. I laugh at myself all the time. I laugh at my children. We just laugh all the time. Having a sense of humor, I mean, that's the best thing to hear, is a laugh and see a smile.
So, can we all thank Sharon for coming and sharing? Yay!